Okay, so now I'm ready to begin work on my potter's wheel base unit. I've made the sketches with dimensions and figured out everything to cut, and I've included a cut list at the bottom to follow. Now I'm fortunate in having some leftover 3/4 inch plywood pieces in the shop that prevented me from having to buy lumber just for this project. But if I were to start with a full sheet of plywood, I would break it down into smaller pieces, manageable for this table saw. All right, so let's begin cutting our pieces. Well, now I have all 4 pieces cut for my sides and ends. My next step is to cross-cut them to the finished length. To do that, I'll use my cross-cut sled. Since I'm trying to develop my skills with woodworking, I've decided to use a tenoning jig to cut the rabbets on the ends of my longer pieces. I haven't tested this yet, but when I put this in with the edge against the fence and tight against the miter gauge, pushing it through, I should slice off this lower tab, giving me a 3/8 by 3/4 rabbet. Let's find out if I set it up correctly. Okay, we're going to switch machines now. I'm going to start working on the router table. Okay, after all of that hard work, we've shaped all of our pieces, 2 long sides, 2 short sides. They all have grooves, and we cut the 2 support ribs. We need to do a dry assembly to make sure that all the joints fit the way they're expected to. And with as much work as we put into it, I really expect everything to fit just fine. As I put this together, it's also a good idea to mention that dry fitting not only checks the machine work that you did, but it also helps to prepare you for glue up. And you don't want any surprises when the glue is wet and something isn't lining up the way you want it to. So there it is, a box. Good for us. Before I commit to gluing up the case, I realized that I need to put a slot for the handle on the lift-up caster mechanism. And to do that, to figure that out, I measured the inside, and it's 13 inches exactly. So I've set the fence on the table saw to just be a hair under 13 inches. And we're going to go ahead and cut that now. Because I'm going to use my sled and true up one edge before I come back and cut it to the 8 1/4 dimension that I set up my stop for. So let's go ahead and do that now. This makes up half of the paddle assembly. It'll fit inside. Now I need to make the other 2 pieces. Okay, I'll drive the rest of the screws in the hinge and we'll carry on from there. I'm going to take the time now to install the casters so I can decide where the lever needs to go. And all I want to do on the caster is to make sure that they spin freely. It's not critical. Drill. Okay, that's that. I'll do the other three and I'll come back to you. This guide block we just made is just a piece of 2x4. I put the channeled grooves going in perpendicular directions, and it fits snugly on the corner. Now that I've drilled the hole out to accept the fitting, I've threaded it onto a 5/16 bolt with 2 nuts jammed together so that they don't move. And I can bring this back out of the insert. Raising the casters until they no longer support the cabinet, I use my adjustable square to find the correct angle of the paddle at its highest point. Now transferring the angle from my adjustable square to a test piece, I lay the line out, take it to the bandsaw. I sanded both edges of the bandsawn pieces, so now I'm going to glue them together, and that gives this handle a little bit more reinforcement before I screw it to the paddles. Okay, now we're ready for some assembly. I'm going to take the end cleats, a little glue, in the slot. I want to make sure that the radius is on the top, or the bottom if you look at it that way. These pieces need to align with the edge here of the slot. A little dab of glue on the end here. Generous glue on here. Bring these together, they're going to pretty much lock in place. So now I have all the clamps applied going in both directions, and the case is square. So that's it for assembly. We'll pick it up in the morning. Okay, so now I've cut the pieces for the pedal assembly. I've taken a sample of the 3/4 inch scrap that equals the lever and the 2 sides of the pedal, and I'm going to put the top on and glue it. But before I do that, I'm going to go ahead and wrap some wax paper. That'll serve 2 purposes. It'll prevent the glue from sticking to my spacer, and it will also give me a little bit of clearance after it dries. So I've marked off the top of the sliding lock assembly, and I've marked 2 points with which the screw and washer will recede in the top so that the block can slide on the handle. I'm going to do that on the drill press. Clean that up with a little sandpaper and we're all set. So I've taken the 1/2" bit out and put a 3/16 bit in, and that'll complete the cut to allow the screw to slide back and forth. So I've sanded the cabinet, and before we move on to making the lid, I want to show you that I've made these little risers to bring the height of the cabinet up a little bit to accommodate the bucket storage when the cabinet's up on its wheels. Okay, so now we're ready to cut the top to shape. Since my trim is 1/2" wide on each side, we're going to trim at 15 inches. I've already set the fence up. We're ready to go. Okay, I've set up the table saw to cut the miters for the edging on the top. I put a piece of tape on the saw table just in front of the blade and marked on the inside edge to help me align up where the end of the stop will be. I've raised the flip stop for the first cut. I'll do that now. Okay, I've done a trial cut. I've measured the length to be perfect right on. I'm ready to flip the gauge, the stop block down. The first cut goes up against the stop block. The second cut will be right on the money. Okay, I've dry fitted all the pieces against the top. I turned it upside down, so I'll be gluing these edges with a little bit of a reveal on the bottom side. The next step is to apply the glue and clamps. Before I finish the banding on the top, I'm going to need to put a rabbet on the inside edge on the router table to accommodate a continuous hinge that will mount on the case like this. Well, the fun thing about woodworking, and especially making your own design, is tweaking things through the process. Originally, I had planned on installing this raised cleat system to hold the potter's wheel on the top of the cabinet. But after exploring, I decided it'd be a lot easier to just drill a countersunk hole at each foot location. So to accomplish that, you don't have to build this wooden jig to locate those holes. You can do the same thing with cardboard by tracing each foot on the cardboard and then transferring that pattern to the top and drilling it through. So all I did was to take a hole saw, and by locating the center in the center of each hole, you can line it up, drill it out, and then I used a little gauge to make sure that each depth was about 3/16. Okay, now you can see where each hole saw location for the feet has been drilled. So now I've set up the plunge router and I'm going to freehand the opening. Well, now I've set up a chamfering bit and I'm going to back route this corner before I come back to this side and straight route.